Welcome to the Five of Us. We are five outspoken women with close to 150 years of experience as broadcast journalists. We left our jobs on the very same day, and we are dedicated to helping women avoid the many pitfalls common to the workplace. We've heard from hundreds of people recounting tales of woe on the job, and we have done the research, we're putting it all in a book, and we are here to help. I'm Roma Torrey, and along with Kristen Shaughnessy, Janine Ramirez, Vivian Lee, and Amanda Farinacci, we are the Five of Us.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. I often bash social media because it disseminates so much disinformation, and at its worst, it has a polarizing impact in this country, not to mention the detrimental effect it has on the mental health of young people. But as we've discussed, it's also a resource where you can explore new ideas, distant worlds, and perspectives that you never knew existed. And so in that vein, in this episode, we are going to share what we are uncovering in social media that enlightens or maybe provides a little schadenfreude. We all love to enjoy other people's misery, I think. I mean, it's a human thing. So I'm going to start off with that one because there was, and I think it was revived, but there was a post that went viral a couple years ago, and it involved a young woman who worked at Walmart who announced her resignation over the PA system. And it started out with her saying, "Attention, Walmart shoppers and associates." And on the Twitter post, you can actually see a man who's kind of hunky and he's got tattoos and he's standing there and he's shopping and he's ignoring the announcement. And then all of a sudden, she says, "My name is Beth in electronics, and I've been working here 5 years, and I can say everyone here is overworked and underpaid." And that gets the guy's attention, and he goes, "Whoa!" And then she launches into what you're about to hear right now.
Attention, Walmart shoppers and associates. My name is Beth from electronics. I've been working at Walmart for almost 5 years, and I can say that everyone here is overworked and underpaid. The attendant policy is bullshit. We are treated for management and customers poorly every day. Whenever we have a problem with it, we're told that we're replaceable. I'm tired of the constant gaslighting. This company treats their elderly associates like shit. To Jared, our store manager, you're a pervert. Greta and Kathy, shame on y'all for treating your associates the way you do. I hope you don't speak to your families the way you speak to us. Shout out to Cominique, Patty, Chardell, and so many more. Walmart doesn't deserve y'all. Fuck management and fuck this job. I quit.
So I love that because, and who has that kind of balls, shall we say, even women, to be able to quit in such a bold public fashion. But I think that's wonderful. Now, Vivian, you have another case of schadenfreude that intrigued you, that caught your fancy.
Yeah, and just to ride that coattail a bit, I just want to say ovaries are marginally larger than testicles. Okay, just marginally. I got that straight from my
and
OBGYN.
vaginas are tougher.
So the schadenfreude, literally meaning cold joy, because you're enjoying the discomfort of somebody else so much. I felt when I saw a recent viral video that was featured on mainstream media of a 33-year-old marketing entrepreneur named Lindsay Donnelly, who decided to go on strike after her husband made a comment on a particularly grumpy day that she did nothing around the house. And so she, on TikTok, went on strike for 2 days, and she showed the result of that, which was laundry piling up on the furniture, on the dining room table, mail strewn all over the house, toys from the kids everywhere, towels on the bathroom floor, and dishes everywhere on the counter, piling up in the sink, and still out on the table from 3 or 4 meals before. So she did that. Then she reported on TikTok that she went on a girls' weekend and came back to a spick and span house and a very chastened husband. And I remember watching that thinking, yeah, I have been there, that invisible work just not being appreciated because, other people in your household, they open up drawers and there are clean spoons to get, or you need a roll of toilet paper and it's right there, stocked up under the bathroom sink, right?
They take
somebody
it for granted.
manages, somebody engineers all of that, and I have had discussions with my husband about it on many occasions, and we've definitely gotten better at divvying up the chores of the house. So
Yeah.
that was one.
And she said he was a good husband. Like,
Right. She was very quick to say he's wonderful. We have a great relationship. It was just he was having a bad day that day. But for him to say that without thinking about all the unseen work that I've done, where I've never, basically she was saying, I don't comment on these things. I just do it, right? But he had to comment on the one time when he felt it wasn't being done. So
But he learned his lesson.
yes, and people are being called out more, especially by female partners in the relationship, just for this kind of thing that
we did a podcast on that.
That's right. We did a podcast on it, and I think discussing it more brings it more in the face of those who are not aware that when they walk into the home and everything is in order, there's a reason for that. There was human power and capital behind it. Another one that I really love, and this was at the height of the pandemic when the fatigue of having to do everything, especially as the mom, like schools had failed, daycares had failed, babysitters disappeared, your army had basically disappeared. This favorite of mine still makes me chuckle. I go back to it when I need a good laugh, and it's the perfect fuck it.
There you go.
The perfect fuck it video where, I know that may be blanked out, but it's 4 siblings, they look like siblings, they're all asked by their father, say perfect, and all 4 say it right, and then they get to the last one who's a toddler who's busy like eating something really delicious with her finger, and she says F-I. It's just so hilarious because she's adorable. And then the father says, say that again? And the daughter
she
says,
does?
Right, but at the height of the pandemic, it was
Now
like
everyone's Googling the
it was like
video.
F you being perfect, right? It was just like the perfect
retort.
Yeah, and it still makes me so happy.
That's great.
And I guess one that I think was my favorite. It's what?
Yeah, it's my kind of video.
Wait, hold that one.
Yeah.
Let me go to Kristen. I forgot who I was going to go to, but Kristen, because you have one that's all about the last laugh, which I really
all right.
love.
So I'm going to read right from this. So it was from Female Quotient. It's Julia Stewart worked as a waitress for IHOP at age 16. Through hard work, she became the president of Applebee's.
Wow.
But when Applebee's passed her over for the job of CEO, she left to become the CEO of IHOP. And then she bought Applebee's.
Oh, that is really
Could you
awesome.
imagine how many people she had the joy of firing when she bought Applebee's?
That's the
You
ultimate.
said what to me? You said what about me?
They always say success is the best revenge.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Serve cold.
It is.
Yeah,
Serve cold.
Yeah.
that's really perfect.
That's funny.
I love that one.
Yeah.
All right, Janine, you're up.
Well, we're talking about like people being miserable, but people being miserable, they're getting divorced. It's a very serious topic, but they're having fun with it. Like they just can't wait to get. They have divorce parties, and they are
You
putting.
mean the separating spouses are together?
No.
Oh.
It's mostly the women. I haven't
okay.
seen divorce parties for the men. I haven't seen those, but I've seen women throw huge bashes for themselves and invite all their friends. And there's the crazy thing is there's a whole industry around it now because there are books, 12 steps to celebrate the new you. And there's lawn signs. People have lawn signs. Finally divorced, like the announcer to the whole, like my kid graduated.
Yeah.
Oh no, finally divorced right there on their lawn.
moved out.
Right. And one of the slogans is like, I got 99 problems, but a husband ain't one.
Oh, that's so funny.
There's slogans for T-shirts, wine bottles, tumblers. No one liked him anyway. The friends come, no one liked him anyway. Right, with their wine glass. Yeah. They have shirts that says, you can't fix stupid, but you could divorce it. I mean, they're cake toppers. They have cakes. And the cakes, they say like free at last with the ball and chain broken. They have one that says thank you next.
Oh my God.
Bye, Felicia. And she lived happily ever after. There's that one. There's newly unwed. I mean, just the slogans and the merchandise around it
Thought
is
to
crazy.
make that a business.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it's a
like
whole
taking
business.
taking the veil off of something that was shrouded in shame
Yeah.
for so
Yeah.
long,
Yeah.
right? So now it's like a new start to your life. It's being celebrated, and it's something that it's being made by an industry that you should own it, right?
Right.
And own it out loud.
Own it. Oh, I said, I do, I did, I'm done. It's like, is it a straight out of Compton, straight out of marriage? Like the same sort of
so
slogan.
funny.
Yeah, a lot of boy, bye.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, adios at last.
I'm laughing because the happily married one is saying.
I'm entertained by it. Meanwhile, I'm going to celebrate 23 years of marriage this year, so it has nothing to do with my status, but I just find it very entertaining that it's so...
Yeah.
And empowering.
It's very empowering.
I love
for
that.
these women. Oh, yeah, they're drinking, doing shots, the whole thing.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's so funny. Years ago, my husband and I were invited to his agent's a party that she was throwing with her soon-to-be ex-boyfriend, although the boyfriend didn't realize that she was going to break up with him. He was very wealthy, and so she convinced the boyfriend to have a party for all of her friends and spent a fortune with gold leaf and this and this.
Wow.
And then at the end of the party, she said, and I'm out of here.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
I mean, the boyfriend was philandering, and she was just tired of that. So, I mean,
that's funny.
Oh, that's a different spin.
and we
then,
were
yeah.
so happy for her. She felt good.
Exposed.
Yeah.
So that big way.
That's a good segue to one that I want to offer up. What do good boys get? It's on Instagram.
Okay.
And it's basically dopamine hit, dopamine hit, dopamine hit. There's a dog mother who's pretending to get on the phone, and she is pretending to have a conversation, and her sleeping dog is under his blanket in his bed behind her. And what she does is she records her having this fake conversation saying, what do good boys get? They get biscuits, and the dog like lights up and runs behind her and then comes over just over her shoulder, and you can see the dog actually listening in and reacting. And she says, oh, and they get cookies, and then they go to the dog park. Oh, wow. And then potty. And then she switches it and says, oh, and then we have to go to the vet. And then we have to cut our nails, and the dog like lights out of there so fast. It is excellent. Yeah, and it just goes to show, like, really, we are bags of emotions walking around in life, and there are certain things that will definitely light us up, and other things that will switch us off.
Well, you know, the algorithms on these things. So, like, they know I love to see doggy videos, right? And so every time I get on my phone, another doggy video pops up, and I'm totally distracted, and it's like, damn, I can't.
They get you.
How does your own dog feel
Too
about
smart,
that?
yeah. Well, and he listens, he hears, he sings along with the thing. It's amazing.
Oh my goodness.
Another story. Amanda, you're up.
I have two. I mean, I can get lost in the dog video sometimes too. And like, my brother will send it.
The algorithms don't pop up on mine.
Yeah.
I never get dog videos.
Not a dog person.
No, she just gets divorced women.
I know. What does that say?
And then she and Frankie are high-fiving each other in the kitchen like, we made it another year.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is exactly what he said to me.
Oh,
He's
that's
like,
what
we've
he
been
said.
to 11. Heard this. High five, Janine.
It's really cute.
No, so some of the ones I'm like, I love all the parenting ones. I'll get to in a second, but like some of the ones about work are like really hilarious. Like if you look at the Onion type stuff, there's one headline that's like, and you see the guy sitting at the table and he's like, man returns to work after vacation with fresh, re-energized hatred for his job. It's so easy to be like identify with that. It's just
So it's not only women.
It's good. But the parenting ones, obviously, I always say my kids are 9 and 7, and like we're at peak homework performance, we're at peak like involvement, and me trying to be less involved. And so there's like all these videos of like parents who are, helping their kids with their homework, and that's like the simple question. Now you guys are like, your kids are older, but like the math has changed, everything has changed, right? It's like 3rd grade math is not like my 3rd grade math. It's like all these bubbles and all this other nonsense. I don't even understand it. Anyway, this one parent is like helping the kid, and he's like, oh, what's 3 plus 2? And we know 3 plus 2 is 5. They ask the kid the first time, and then the kid's like, oh, he answers the first time, and then they go back and try to explain, and then it turns into, they ask the question the second time, the kid's like 12, and the woman's like, 12? Like, what are you talking about? And then she's like, patience, and it progresses. She smacks him on the side, and she's like, I can't do this anymore. And then the husband's like, let me give it a try. And then he goes over, and he asks the kid, and the kid just says it wrong, and then he's like, maybe you didn't hear me. I said the number was 5. But it's just, anyway, you have to watch these things. There's so many. Yes, some of them have curses in them. I don't curse at my children, but I very much identify with the idea that like sometimes you want to be like, what aren't you getting? Like, what don't you get? There's another one of like, Dave and I were talking about this the other day, like where the parent, you guys will get this too with older kids, where the mom is like holding this like hot plate, like and she says, "This is hot," and the kid is trying to hold like this. She's like, "Don't touch the bottom, it's hot," and the kid keeps going like this. And she's like, "Don't touch the bottom, it's hot," and then finally she's like, "And that for." Like nobody's real. I suspect nobody's really doing that to their kids, but like the idea is there, right?
Yeah.
It's in your head where you're like, I just want to.
The thought bubbles.
Yes, the thought bubbles. Like I'm gonna lose my mind if you don't.
Yeah, we all take a vicarious thrill out of that
Yes,
stuff,
and that's
right?
why I, like every time I see something like that, I'm like, I just love that.
See, that's where social media comes in very handy.
Yes,
Yeah.
Very relatable.
Yes.
Well, on a
sure.
more serious note, I came across this other one where you see a picture of a very pretty blonde young woman, and she's standing next to and holding on to a very handsome, tall, dark-skinned black man. And I guess this was in the South, and so she posted this tweet that got a lot of attention, in which she throws shade on a woman who I guess was being very judgmental, saw them in public, and started like nudging her husband, saying, "Look at that," you know. So
That.
yeah. So this blonde woman writes on Twitter. She said, "To that woman."
Oh, good.
Okay. So, and we all know there's a lot of that women, right?
Yeah.
To that woman, I saw you elbow your husband when we sat down. I saw you stare a hole through the woman that was trying to have a family dinner with the two of us. I saw you laugh. I saw you talk. I smiled at your daughter who made a point to look at us. I held back hurt. I held back mean words. I also held back the basket of chips I wanted to throw at your table. I'm not oblivious to racism. I have sadly prepared myself for that. What's even more sad is that he is the most gentle, kind-hearted, loving man I've ever met, and he will constantly have to try to prove himself because he chose me. I don't give a rat's how old you are, how your generation was raised, or where you grew up. Where in your upbringing did someone corrupt you so badly that you believe a skin tone sculpts someone's morals? It hurts the children. And you're right, it does. It's because the woman said it hurts the kids. And she said, you're right, it does. It's not my kids that's hurting, though. It's the kids having to be raised by people like you. And it
good
was
post.
like shade, you know, you just love it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I enjoy those.
Another one
putting
exposed
people in
on-
their place.
on social media. Well, I have a friend who posted, "I survived another meeting that should have been an email."
I think I saw that one.
It's like the whole too many meetings thing. Hello, and then I started looking up, like, what is this problem that managers have with trying to call these meetings?
Trying to prove they're busy.
And Harvard Business Review has a whole article about this, saying that meetings have increased in length and frequency over the past 50 years, to the point where executives spend an average of nearly 23 hours a week
Oh, God.
in meetings. Like, what?
Pointless meetings.
Pointless, right. And the argument for it is like collaboration, creativity, brainstorming, innovation, relationship building, but it's also like posing, right?
Yeah.
And especially for new, they said the worst people to do it are new managers, because they have to prove themselves,
Yeah,
right?
right.
That
So
makes
they're
sense.
posing as the manager, they're playing the part of the manager
look
by
the part.
calling all these meetings to try to look important.
Well, they also can just say, I have a meeting, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But
Right.
the thing is,
They
if you
can
have all these
escape.
meetings and things just stay the same, what the
What's
heck
the
is
point?
happening in the meeting?
No, it's excessive, they're
Yeah, it's-
wasteful, right. And they did like a survey of employees, like, what do you think about all these meetings? 65 said that meetings kept them from completing their work.
Yeah.
71% that meetings were unproductive and inefficient. 64% said meetings come at the expense of deep thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
and more research show that 70% of all meetings keep employees from working and completing all their tasks, and
Yeah.
that no meeting should really last more than a half an hour.
Yeah, right.
Like, can you keep
And
it?
I think less, honestly.
Yeah.
I think probably 10, 15 minutes max.
A friend of mine got a promotion recently. I said, "Oh, so what does that entail?" She said, "More meetings." So true.
It's performative. You know,
Yeah.
it's just an opportunity to look a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, and to prove yourself, right?
And to say that you're in with the big wigs of the company.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. You're on the
it's-
equal footing.
yeah.
You know, that's
But
foolish.
I don't think they realize that nobody's really impressed who's actually
No.
doing the work.
And there's
right?
like a book on this. There's a book called The 25-Minute Meeting. Half the time, double the impact. Like, do they really need a lesson on how to hold a meeting?
Really.
Oh my God.
They had a meeting on that.
Right? Several meetings on that.
God, there are a lot of dumb bosses out there.
Gosh.
Kristen, you have a good one.
Oh, I did. This is from Billy Joel. Oh, I used to work at Nassau Coliseum in college, and we got to listen to him for free. But anyway, he never sells his tickets to the front rows of his concerts. Aside from wanting to beat the scalpers, he also is tired of looking at rich people who are bored in his front rows. So he has this, I guess, a security team go up to the very worst seats and bring all those people down to the front seats. And he said, and then they're really enjoying it. They'll talk about it, obviously. And it's just, that's what he is there to do, is to perform. And for people who
So he does that at the Garden? Because
I assume he's doing it. Yeah, I don't know. I just saw this one. I don't know, but
I love that idea because I think he also wrote in the post something about, those ones, those are the real fans.
The ones who are willing to sit way up there and just listen to the music, because you can't really see.
Right, and then they get double the bonus by being like within spitting distance of
So
him.
just book the last seat of his concerts.
And you'll get the front seat, maybe.
And hope he picks you up.
That's so funny. My son, as a Christmas present, got me tickets to the Billy Joel, and I was in those top seats. No one brought me down there.
I was like, you're in the wrong last seat.
I blew it. Vivian, you were going to...
I have one more, and it's another feel-good, but it's a parent hack that was on Instagram. The crying child at the patio door through the screen, just like crying. Parent opens the door, takes an instant whipped cream can and squirts straight into her mouth. The look on her face is priceless.
Yeah.
She just is in wonder, stops crying, turns away, walks away from the door into the yard with the dog.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It worked.
But there's a policy around that, though. You can't just buy those little spray
canisters?
aerosol canisters anymore. No, I think teenagers are getting high off of them or something. So
Oh,
now you have to
that's
prove that you're a
my
certain age to buy them.
goodness.
It's
really?
Yes,
Oh my God! From the CFCs coming out of the.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh!
Exactly.
my gosh.
Yeah. No, you have to be like, I don't know, 18?
18?
It's like,
a can of
remember Tide
whipped cream.
Pods? Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Same
Same
thing.
thing. Hello,
And the
generation,
cinnamon
whatever.
challenge,
Yep,
remember that one?
yep.
People died from that one.
Yeah,
That
terrible.
was awful. And that was actually spread virally on social media. Yeah, right. That's it. Anybody else have another one? Because I have one more I can throw out there. Okay, this is another, it's a lovely feel-good piece. And it was a post that someone I know who's a network producer said she was very proud of this particular segment. And it involved, there was a high school class, a group of seniors that wanted to put on a play in their high school as they were graduating, and it was an LGBTQ version of Robin Hood, and it was gender bending, that women were playing men's roles, et cetera. Well, when the principal found out about it during auditions for the play, he shut it down, just said, we're not doing this woke thing. So the kids put out a petition, they got about 6,000 signatures, and it got the attention of a former teacher who no longer worked at the school, who was connected in town and had some theater experience. And so the teacher got involved, and they started a GoFundMe page, and they raised, before the production, they raised about $50,000. So with that money, they were able to buy costumes, they rented an auditorium, and it was a rousing success. And they had about 1,400 people attend the performance. And then with all that extra money, they raised about $83,000 when all was said and done. And with all that extra money, they divvied up to the kids who were there. And then with the excess, they used it as scholarship money for LGBTQ students going to college who couldn't afford it, and for LGBTQ causes. And I just thought, what a wonderful story. When you have lemons, you make lemonade, and this is exactly what the kids did.
This brings me to another post that I saw.
Okay, bravo.
Live so that if your life was a book, Florida would ban it. There's a whole bunch of restrictions over there.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So anyway, this was great. Okay, I have a quote here because I always end with quotes, and it comes from a guy named Jay Baer, who's a keynote speaker and entrepreneur, et cetera, and he said, "Content is fire, social media is gasoline," and I thought that was very apropos because it speaks to the pros and cons of social media. Fire destroys, right? And so when you light a fire, you could destroy something, or you could spark some attention and you could heat things up. So it kind of speaks to the good, the bad, and the ugly of social media. And sadly, as I said at the outset, I'm always bashing social media because I can't stand what it's doing to the kids. I also hate how it spreads lies and so much disinformation, and it's really divided this country, and all in the name of free speech. And I don't know if there's any way to remedy that.
It also sparks activism.
Yes, right.
It's be able to reach a lot of people, and that's what happened there with the
and that's in the beginning, the Arab Spring. Remember, I mean that started, although it didn't end very well.
And a much lighter note, it also teaches you how to fold your towels and your sheets and
recipes you never knew you needed.
Yeah, so
tons
there's
of things. New dance moves. I mean,
it's like
there's a lot of good there, Roma.
It's like any tool. It's like any tool. You just have to know how to
use it.
How to
Yeah.
handle it. So anyway, on that note, thanks all, and happy tweeting and whatever you do on that social media. And I'll be looking at dog videos for a while. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to The Five of Us. We want to hear from you with any questions, ideas, or suggestions for future discussions. Just write to us at the email you see here, and we will be eager to help. Talk to you next time.